You ever have one of those weeks where you wake up thinking you're living in the middle of nowhere, total peace, nobody around for miles, and then boom, suddenly it feels like the whole world's at your gate, smiling clipboard in hand, trying to tell you how to mow your own grass? Yeah, that's about where my story begins. Out here, 12 miles from the nearest neighbor, I thought I'd finally found silence, no rules, no drama, just trees, rust, a busted barn, and a little hope I could stitch back together. Well, that was before they came. Before the khaki-clad welcome wagon rolled up flashing more teeth than a used car salesman and carrying more attitude than a bored DMV clerk. Now it's war and buddy. I've got cameras, receipts, and not a damn thing left to lose. I never wanted neighbors. I don't even like folks waving at me on the highway. So I bought 12 acres of the loneliest farmland I could find in Rutherford County, Tennessee, a patch locals called the Old Sutton Farm. Though to me it was just home, a little rough around the edges. Place was a disaster when I signed the papers. Roof leaked like a colander, raccoons owned the attic plumbing, looked like a WPA project. I'd seen worse working as a federal asset auditor, so I got to work, kept the original beams installed, fiber ran a backup generator, put in a security system that'd make Fort Knox look underfunded. The goal wasn't pretty, it was peace. My nearest neighbors, and I'm using that term loosely, lived a quarter-mile away in Stone Point Estates. You know the type. Gated drives, synchronized sprinklers, all their little signs saying master-planned community. Every time I drove past their entrance, those brick columns glared at my beat-up Tacoma like it was about to drop oil on their HOA-approved pavers. First month, nobody bothered me. I poured concrete, rebuilt the barn, kept to myself. Then one Tuesday, things went sideways. I was leveling gravel for the walkway when this white Lexus rolls up like it's casing the joint. Out stepped three folks, blonde woman in sunglasses so clean you could see the HOA bylaws reflected, a guy with an iPad glued to his hip, and another dude who looked about as useful as an umbrella in a tornado. "Hi there," she chirps. "I'm Karen Bullylock, president of the Stone Point Estates Homeowners Association." Her smile was sharp enough to cut wire. "We just wanted to formally welcome you to the neighborhood." I leaned on my shovel and said, "Not in the neighborhood, ma'am." I checked the map. She just laughed like that was the cutest thing she'd ever heard. "Oh, don't be modest. Your lot technically borders our community expansion phase. We think of you as part of the Stone Point family." I had to fight the urge to roll my eyes. "Look, this land's not part of any HOA. County line ends at the ridge." Karen's smile didn't even twitch. "That's a matter of perspective. Our residents care deeply about visual cohesion, property values, you understand. We'd love for you to attend our next meeting just to introduce yourself." The iPad guy jumped in. "We even have a non-member participation clause. Voluntary, of course. But we do encourage alignment with the code." I wiped my brow, trying to keep it polite. "Appreciate the visit, but I'm not interested. My land, my rules. No HOA, no alignment. Good day." Karen's sunglasses dipped. She wasn't used to no. Well, she said icy, "We hope you'll reconsider. It's in everyone's best interest to maintain community integrity." As they left, iPad guy snapped a photo of my solar rack. First red flag right there. Week later, I find a letter in my mailbox. No stamp, just HOA letterhead, and a sugar-coated message about voluntary landscaping guidelines. Suggested I trim hedges, lower my fence, and get this, relocate the solar panel array to a more discreet quadrant. Ended with Stone Point thrives on harmony. I tossed it in the burn barrel and went about my day. But then I started seeing headlights at night, black SUV creeping by my front fence, reversing, returning. My property's not a shortcut to anything, so I checked the cameras. License plate frame. Proud to be Stone Point. Now I'm sleeping with the security app open. Next visit. It's a guy in a golf cart labeled HOA Patrol measuring my fence with a laser. I stepped out with a drill in hand. He bolted, looked like a bad cartoon. That's when I started documenting everything. Uploaded the footage, filed a trespass report with the sheriff, installed more cameras, thermal cloud sync, the whole 9 yards. But if you know anything about people like Karen, you know they don't quit. They get creative. Soon the games turned ugly. Came home one day to find a typed note shoved in my mailbox. You are out of alignment with the Stone Point community aesthetic. List of supposed violations: solar rack fence, height, barn color, utility fixtures. Last line: compliance is not optional. You've been warned. I time-stamped and archived. It wasn't rattled yet. Until the cameras caught two people in blue vests. Laser measures out, walking 20 feet past my fence, right through my vegetable bed, measuring the barn. Their truck had a Stone Point maintenance magnet, no plates. Came while I was gone for exactly 28 minutes. That's not a coincidence. Someone was watching my schedule. That night, I walked the fence line with a flashlight and a sidearm. Didn't expect trouble, but I was done being passive. This wasn't just HOA drama, they were trespassing. Next day, I filed a formal police report, mailed certified letters to the sheriff, and the HOA spelled out the law stated, my property was private and warned any further nonsense would land them in court. 3 days later, a reply arrives not from the sheriff, but a Stone Point legal liaison on crisp letterhead. They claim the right to enforce harmony on adjacent properties. No law cited, just threats. My lawyer in Nashville nearly laughed herself sick. They had zero authority. Then I found footprints by the tree line, recent deep human. Someone was watching, waiting, maybe even baiting me. I added more thermal sensors, a hidden backup recording node, and a 360-degree camera dome above the barn. Next night, the black SUV shows up again. This time, Karen's driving. She sits out there 5 minutes staring down my driveway, tapping her phone. No note, just presence. Morning after I find a handwritten note, I'd hate for something unpleasant to happen out here. You're so isolated. No signature. I have it dusted for prints, set up a perimeter alarm. That night, the south floodlight blazes at 3:27 a.m. Camera feed catches someone darting into the woods, dark hoodie too fast for a face. But they knew where the cameras were. I sat up, coffee in hand, watching monitors till sunrise. And then, here's the twist. I get a police raid. Friday night, after a quiet evening watching old noir movies, my security lights flare and the door takes 3 pounding hits. Cops shouting, "Step out," hands where we can see them, blue and red lights everywhere. Cruisers blocking my driveway. I go to the door, hands up, announce myself, I'm Tim Randall. I live here. I'm alone. They grill me about domestic violence and firearms, pure fiction. I refuse them entry without a warrant, hand over my ID, an expired federal auditor's badge. They don't like it, but they got nothing. They leave grumbling. I check the footage. 8 minutes before they arrived, Karen's SUV was there, her on the phone. Coincidence, please. I file complaints with the sheriff, attach camera footage, notarized affidavits, send everything to internal review, DA, the works. No reply. Instead, Stone Point puts up a community safety poster. Underneath, someone spray-painted uncooperative neighbors are dangerous. Cute. A week later, more cops, 6 this time. 2 a.m., no lights, no sirens, scanning my property with flashlights and a thermal monocular. I hit the perimeter speaker, you are being recorded. Any unlawful entry will result in legal action. They glare at my cameras, poke around, then leave without a word. Next morning, I find a wildlife cam duct taped to a tree, SD card inside. Last files a video of me, arms up in the floodlights. Somebody planted it to monitor my reaction. At this point, I call Marcus Fields, my old compliance buddy, now a state auditor. He tells me about sponsored patrol contracts, HOAs hiring off-duty cops, only supposed to be on their land, not mine. He digs up the contract. Turns out Stone Point submitted a forged patrol map expanding their patrol zone onto my property. That's fraud. Marcus backs everything up. I get a civil rights lawyer, Valerie Greer, tough as nails. The HOA doubles down, sends a cease and desist accusing me of creating a threatening atmosphere, uses photos of me holding what they claim is a firearm. Only it's my post-hole digger, cropped and darkened. Valerie's forensic expert proves it's a fake, altered metadata-free editing app signature. That's felony territory, filing false police reports, fabricating evidence. Valerie files suit in federal court, harassment, defamation, conspiracy, you name it. Meanwhile, Marcus traces HOA board emails showing their true motive. They want my land for a planned clubhouse expansion. Campaign donations, forged maps, bribed deputies, all tied up with a bow. Media catches wind, local news parks outside my gate. Karen tries to spin it as community safety, but when the judge sees board messages like, "Let's try again Friday night," loud noise, maybe call a welfare check, it's over. DA steps in. Arrest warrants for Karen, 2 board members, and the crooked deputies. Karen melts down in court, calls it a witch hunt. Judge doesn't blink. She's cuffed and walked out in front of the whole town. Verdict: HOA dissolved, assets liquidated. I get $1.1 million plus legal fees. The new residents form a voluntary civic council, no more power over my land. I don't move, I don't sell, I build a new gate, install a sign, private property not part of any HOA, all incidents recorded. But the real twist: with the settlement, I start a nonprofit, Home Safe, to help others fight HOA bullies. Dozens reach out, then hundreds. Turns out I wasn't just defending my 12 acres. I was holding the line for folks everywhere who just want to be left the hell alone. So, you ever been pushed so far you turned into the story you'd only heard about on late night radio? Because that's what it took to make folks listen. My question is, how far would you go to protect your piece of peace? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me if you've been through something like this, and don't forget to share your story, because sometimes justice starts with a single no.